Hey everybody, Knox here with the American Suppressor Association, and we are back for another episode of Mystery Silence Theater, where Hollywood's depiction of silencers gets put to the test. Today we've got a special guest, our good friend Scott Duet from Lipsey's. For those of you who don't know Scott, he knows more about guns than anyone you'll probably ever meet. So
No
Scott,
pressure.
Yeah, dude, tell us a little bit about your background.
Definitely a long-time enthusiast and collector, shooter, all that good stuff. I was a full-time gunsmith for 10 years, worked at a retail store, got to do that, and now I'm the compliance manager, amongst other things, at Lipsey's.
Nice. So, for those of you who don't know Lipsey's, they are one of the country's biggest distributors, and y'all sell to how many FFLs?
12,000-ish.
Well, nice. Yeah, that's a lot, man. So y'all work with folks throughout the country.
Yeah, 50 states and the territories.
So if you've bought more than a couple guns, there's a good chance that you bought a gun that Lipsey's has sold. And y'all have been involved with us at ASA since, I think, 2014.
Yeah.
Lori Aronson, y'all CEO, sits on our board of directors. She is fantastic. And it's always a pleasure to work with y'all. But that's not why y'all are here. We are here to jump in on some movies. And we thought today that we would start with kind of the most iconic person when it comes to silencers, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. James Bond.
007.
Bond. James Bond.
Yep, in Dr.No, which is one of the first serious Bond movie with Sean Connery, who was by far the best Bond.
Yeah, sorry, Daniel Craig.
Yeah, Daniel Craig's pretty great. Pierce Brosnan was awesome in GoldenEye, but nobody's got anything on Dr.No and on Sean Connery.
Man, you didn't even give Roger Moore like an honorable mention.
And do we talk about him?
Like, who?
Who was the other guy that was in there too?
Oh god, he was only in like one movie.
Yeah, License to Kill.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, that's exactly what it was. I don't remember what the guy's name was.
Yeah, it's not very important.
Sorry.
He was way better in Hot Fuzz. But, yeah. So, all right, let's jump in here. I'm kind of curious. This is a pretty old movie. I think it came out in 1962.
Yeah.
So this was closer to Maxim being around than to now. So let's see how these guys do.
Yes, you must.
All right, so he's walking up. Did he just call him Master? Oh my God.
It was 1962. No.
All right, so these they call these guys the Three Blind Mice. What's your take, man?
Honestly, that was pretty good. I mean, so we're looking at this like two 1911s with silencers and maybe a P38, maybe a Webley 32 auto, and but they got the sound pretty respectable, for the time. I think. I mean, definitely more believable than some like the laser beams and stuff that we see.
Yeah, man. So it's kind of funny to hear this, right? Because this is 2 years after the laser was invented. So maybe nobody understands what a laser sounds like, which they don't sound like anything. No, lasers don't make noises. But this predates
they do in space.
Yeah. This predates Star Trek and Star Wars and stuff. Had Yuri Gagarin even gone? I think he'd just gone out into space, or maybe
Sputnik was
Sputnik
in
was
57.
Yeah.
So maybe not even a person in space yet.
Yeah. So this is that kind of fantasy hadn't even really come out. So these guys really did a pretty good job.
That's pretty respectable, honestly.
One of the funny things here, though, is the middle blind mouse, the dude who's carrying maybe the Webley, maybe the P38, is definitely not shooting suppressed. Nope. And you can't tell the difference when they're shooting. So, with some of these older cans,
they were a little loud.
So, I had to,
I mean, honestly,
kudos.
I feel the same way. I don't have a lot of negative things to say about that scene. That was pretty good.
So, let's listen to this one more time. They're definitely all three shooting.
Yes,
and it's definitely
the middle guy definitely shot it. It sounded the exact same as the others.
Yeah, you can see a little bit of the flash, but sound effects was lacking a little bit, but that sounded pretty decent.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, let's move on to the next scene. All right, so here we are. This lady's seeing something sketchy happening around her house or office or wherever she's at. Okay. I don't really know why they would have broken the windows to shoot through them, right? Let me put a silencer on my gun so I can make a really loud crash, breaking the window, and this lady just flailing around like they do, overly dramatic, little bit of an overact.
No, it was
But,
fine.
Yeah. All right, so she did, and they're stealing something, some keys. But let's go back and take a look at some of these guns. All right.
That
Let's see the first guy. First guy.
that's probably 1911.
Yeah, pretty sure that's a 1911. It's a little bit blurry because they're moving. This middle guy. All right, dude that blows out the window. I can't really tell what that is, but it looks like a suppressed 1911.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. I think it's
And then this guy has definitely, that's got to be a Webley.
that's like that Webley and Scott like 32 like Metropolitan Police model.
But you got to respect, they're like swapping up guns in between.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
two of them probably had the same one. The middle guy was like, "Hey, I want to get in on this suppressor
Yeah, he's
party."
like, wait a minute, yeah,
Yeah.
variety's the spice of life. Let's try a different gun. Yeah.
But they sounded the same as before.
Yeah.
And again, it's like kind of that thud, right? Like
Yeah.
that suppressed guns actually make.
45 caliber suppressed.
So
no, I like it.
yeah, staying true. All right.
Inconsistent. It
Yeah.
sounded just like it did in the first scene.
Yep. You got the three blind mice coming up, looking to snipe him. Here they go. Look at that. Look at that form, man. Let's pause it right there. Yeah. So, do you shoot like that very frequently?
Only when I want to get hit in the face by the slide when it comes back.
Man, that's pretty awesome. Yeah. It's like, let's put our eye right up to it and make sure it's real good and close. Yeah. If you don't value your eyesight, but these guys are blind anyway, so I guess
true story.
like, it makes a little bit of
you
sense.
can fire at least one shot like that.
Yeah, you might have a hard time cycling and seeing, but if you're already blind, then like so be it. But I also gotta say, like, dude, I respect the fact that the three blind mice don't want to lose another one of their five senses.
Yeah, true
right.
story.
So they're just like,
Just
like
we got to work with what we
yeah.
got. Yeah.
yeah, we're already at 80%. Like, let's not go down to 60. So they're using the suppressor. Like, that's mad respect on that. Oh, so there's a big car that drives by, and James escapes before they can take that sniper shot.
I know.
With
Plus,
an-
there was no window for him to break either. So, like, he just like, how could he do it without that?
We could have broke the car window.
True story.
For effect. Ah, I'm mad. Hulk smash. But I don't even know if Hulk was around then, so
He should have been.
that's pretty good. All right, so here we are. James Bond is preparing himself for battle.
It's like a boss.
Yeah, let's clear this table.
Let's clear this table abruptly and put my playing cards on it.
All right, so let's zoom in here. He's putting on a can on. All right, what kind of gun is that?
So that is an FM Browning 1910,
Which is
is
not
the Walther PPK that they brought to shame him and replace earlier in the movie. Yeah,
yeah, they did a whole big spiel about
just about Walther PPK. Yeah.
the stopping power of the wall.
Yeah, which was the same caliber as the Brother they took from him, but we won't get into that.
yeah, or should we? Yeah, but yeah.
Maybe we should. But again, since they're not using that gun in this scene. I mean, honestly, I suspect that they couldn't figure out a good way to like put that thing. They couldn't figure out a way to put the silencer on the Walther, so they had to use this gun, which has like a bushing on the front, like a 1911. So I'm assuming this thing's being attached basically by like that bushing. That's how they do this scene where he puts it on, and that's how they got it on the gun for the movie.
Yeah. Well, and okay, so. And one thing that I want you to notice is the size of the bore aperture on that can.
Yeah, definitely no baffle strike on. Definitely no cap strike on that.
What exactly would that can do for that gun?
Almost nothing.
And also,
Yeah.
even if it was doing nothing, would that stay on when you shot if it didn't have a threaded barrel? Or like a three lug or like anything like that?
I mean, that's a pretty low pressure round, but like it certainly wouldn't stand up to like a lot of shooting. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be my first choice. Let's put it that, because it's literally just like an interrupted like little tooth, like on 1911. It slides in there and turns. It definitely wasn't meant to hold like the weight of a. Plus, you'd have had concentricity issues with the barrel and all kind of stuff like that. You know, I mean, it's just like a bunch of reasons why that would not be a good idea. But yeah, eventually it would fly out the end of there.
Yeah, probably after that first, maybe second shot.
Yeah,
So, but hey, I
it
guess
would break
that's
the
all you
window
need.
for you. If you
Yeah. Little handgun grenade. But yeah, okay. So, and also, let's look at how he's screwing that thing on there, right? Like,
Just like,
yep. Unless you've got a three lug, which this did not have.
no.
And it really didn't have any sort of mechanism to attach it. But like aside from that, like this is a 22 variant of a Walther PPK.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a suppressor. So like he's basically using a suppressor that would be about a relevant size for a modern 22 can.
Yeah.
Right. Which,
Yeah.
all right, for effects and all that, you get, I understand that. You can see that it doesn't have any impact over, obscuring the sight picture or anything like that, again, because it's so small. But this is what it looks like to actually screw it on. It takes a second. It's not
probably like 10 revolutions, 12 revolutions, something like that before it's all the way tight.
Yeah, it's not that long, but it's a heck of a lot quicker
then like
than
instant,
that.
like
Yeah. All right, so let's keep going. Let's see where this goes. So he's sitting there playing solitaire, and the guy's creaking up. Let's grab the gun. Point it at the door. Six shots. All right.
6 shots, 1911. Slide's locked open.
Slide is completely locked open, just like fully visible for the whole world to see.
100%, definitely empty.
How many rounds do 1911s hold traditionally?
At that time, 7 rounds because they had the longer followers on them. You shorten the follower, you can get 8 in it.
Okay, but like 7 rounds.
7 rounds is basically like it back then on a flush fit magazine. Like
plus 1 if
plus
you
one
aren't
if
being
you
an
talk.
idiot.
Yeah.
Like let me just go assassinate an assassin with 2 fewer rounds than I could have in my gun.
Yeah.
Very intelligent.
Or he's very confident.
Professor, I'm behind you.
Okay, so he throws the gun down.
Throws his empty gun down, yeah.
And here is James pointing his suppressed FN with that 22 can with the world's largest aperture at this guy. All right.
It's funny, I thought you'd turn up sooner or later.
You could really see it in that picture.
Yeah.
The girl talked.
But of course.
Where have we seen that before?
I'm going to go ahead and say The Rock.
Well, I'm Stanley Goodspeed. But of course you are.
Stanley Goodspeed. But of course.
But of course.
I was suspicious at the Queen's Club anyhow. When it turned out you were the only one who'd seen Strangway.
That's some pretty gangster move where he just like,
He's like,
I'm gonna grab
I'm
a
gonna turn
cigarette.
my bag, smoke my cigarette.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't care.
He's like, I don't respect this guy. He didn't even put 7 rounds in his gun.
All right, so that slide is clearly locked forward, which
Yes.
like maybe
Okay,
happened when he
maybe-
threw it down
yeah,
on this.
Yeah, maybe it closed when he dropped it. Okay,
Yep,
fair
all right.
enough. Still empty.
Very clever, Mr. Bond. But you're up against more than you know.
Literally
You
chain
shoot me and
smoking.
you'll end up like Strangways.
It was the 60s. It was cool. Haven't you seen Mad Men? Jesus.
He was killed, but never mind how.
Who are you working for, Professor?
Well, you might as well know, as you won't live to use the information. I'm working for...
Oh, snap.
All right, so slide moves forward. I guess, yeah, he would have been able to actually pull the trigger. You know, the hammer would have been
it
caught
would've
to the
fallen,
slide
yeah.
and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but like also let's look at how he's holding that gun.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah, like it's a Mac.
let me just
It's not like-
hold
yeah, let me
the
just grab-
slide. That's a great move. Yeah, okay.
It would have went super well for him if it would have fired.
Yep. If you see somebody at the range holding any sort of semi-automatic handgun like that, what's your reaction?
I'm somewhat torn between, do I try to stop them or do I just make sure I don't get splattered with their blood when they shoot me?
Yeah.
You know, it's like a magical mix of like, how much involved do I want to get?
Yeah, that's a Darwin Award right there. Right? Like, you
Yeah, that's
really
never,
should have
that's
seen
never
that
going to end
coming.
well for you for like a few
No.
different reasons. Yeah.
No. Okay. But James Bond is relatively unfazed. Why
Yeah.
is that?
Because he knows the gun's empty.
Yeah. Because of the slide or what? Let's see what he
Let's
has
see
to
what he
say.
has to say about it.
It's a Smith & Wesson. And you've had your 6.
All right. So, tell us about that gun. Is that a Smith & Wesson?
It's definitely not a Smith & Wesson.
And why is it not a Smith &
Smith
Wesson?
& Wesson didn't start making 1911s until like 20 years ago. So that gun is like 40 years too pre-game to be a Smith & Wesson.
All right. So, I mean, maybe they had a time machine that is James Bond. You never quite
it's a
know.
prototype.
Yeah. Smith, looking at you. Did you make a prototype 1911 for Dr. No
world wants to
in
know.
1962? We got to know. All right. So, and he says, and you've had your 6.
Even though the gun held 7, but yeah, but again, he did shoot 6, so we'll go with that.
Yeah. That's a hell of a presumption, though. To
Yeah.
make like, hey, I'm
Like-
I'm confident that you actually didn't fully load your magazine before you came in to murder me in my sleep. Yeah, that's a pretty boss move. All right, let's see what he does from here.
For good measure, that's the double tap.
Yeah, that is a double tap.
Don't be stingy on the ammo.
And obviously, you got to blow out the can too. You can't have that smoke just
No, of course
sitting in
not.
there.
No.
Let's watch that one more time. All right, and look at how he takes
Also,
it
like
off.
rotates
Yeah.
right off. Yep.
Yep.
Gets a little stuck, pulls it. And he's like, "Yep."
And
gotcha.
we don't get a good view of the barrel right there.
No.
Like I wish that we could have seen how they had attached it, but I mean, it appears as though it was redneck engineered onto that gun.
they
for
definitely
the
made it.
effect.
They did that for the movie.
But I've got to say, man, like even when he's shooting that, like okay, that gun would have been basically unsuppressed.
Yeah,
Right, like it wouldn't have even really operated as much of a muzzle brake. But granted, you're shooting a really small round anyway, so like it's not that bad. But nonetheless, like the sound effects, guys, I wonder if it's because like laser beams and Star Wars and sound effects wasn't that sophisticated, or like they actually were like, hey, let's show it how it actually is.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, again, like you said earlier, kudos. I mean, I think they did a really good job in this one.
Yeah. I'm a bit taken aback, right? Like, and I guess we're gonna have to dive in future episodes and kind of see where James Bond takes that turn into, you know, a pseudo realistic sound or representation of what suppressed gunshots sound like into the laser beams.
Yeah,
You know, yeah, pew 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 pew.
like
Yeah.
what?
Because we know for sure by the time we were growing up and GoldenEye
Yeah,
came
no,
out,
yeah,
like it was
definitely, yeah.
full laser beam.
The wheels were
Yeah.
off by
The video game and the movie,
Yes.
which we will absolutely be doing in a future episode.
Stay tuned.
Yep. But yeah, all right. So for these movies, we give a score based on our sliding scale of silence.
Hey, man, I don't like this.
In our first episode, we did Jack Reacher, that new Amazon Prime show.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first episode, we gave it a negative 0.6 because it was just absolutely ridiculous.
Harsh.
They were talking about
Negative.
95 grain subsonic 9mm and how it was just like tiny caliber and like all this stuff.
Yikes.
It's like, yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. Also, full laser beams. We upgraded it in the second episode to a 2.4 because they acknowledged that burglars don't use silencers, which we agree.
Yeah,
because,
true.
you know, in order to use a silencer, A, it doesn't actually silence it.
Yeah.
B, it makes drawing your gun or concealing it very hard. You're like the
Carrying it,
Joker from
yeah.
Batman.
Jack Nicholson style.
Yeah, exactly. And see, like you've got the enhanced penalty. Like there's a no-win situation.
Yeah.
So those were our first two scores. Knowing that, what's your thought on Dr.No?
I mean, am I too like? Am I going too bold if I say like 8 or so? I mean,
You do you, man.
I mean, I don't know. Like I like this. I thought they did a good job. I'm gonna go 8.
8? Okay.
Yeah.
I will say, everybody knows that the round scores are rookie scores.
I'd give it like a 6.
Rookie score with the round number.
Oh,
Yeah.
rookie move.
Yeah.
Well, this is my first time.
It's like
man.
the pizza
It's like,
reviews.
oh, true
Yeah.
story. Yes, 1.2 stars. Yeah, it's not very bad.
No.
So I'm gonna go at 8.034.
8.034. It's like kind of like pi.
Yeah, it's pretty close to that. Yeah.
It's actually not, but yeah. Yeah, I think that's a pretty fair score, man. I'm going to go 7.9.
Nice. Oh,
Yeah.
and not a rookie move too.
Yeah.
I like it.
I do have the luxury of this being our show, so we can make up the rules as we go completely and not tell you about it and then call you out about it. So, yeah.
We're all friends here. It's fine.
Yeah, man. So, yeah. I was
No, yeah.
I'm surprised at this. I know that at some point someone was like, yo, we got to change that. But
yeah, that's not impressive enough. It's
Yeah.
gotta be more quiet.
that memo did not make it to Sean Connery's James Bond in 1962. So for that, we'll give this a score of 7.9 and 8.034.
0.34 is what it was. Yeah.
Right on.
You want to do a quick average of what that is?
Basically an 8. We'll just we'll round up or down. Yeah. Well, yeah. So that's what we've got. Scott, thank you for coming on and joining us on Mystery Silence Theater, where Hollywood's depiction of silencers gets put to the test. We'll be back next time with another one of these James Bond movies to rate. In the meantime, give us a like, give us a share, and sound off in the comments to let us know what you want us to review on the next episode of Mystery Silence Theater. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
As a nonprofit, our job is to fight for your rights, and we could not do it without your support. Your membership and your donations fund our fights in Washington, D.C. and in state capitals across the country. I promise that the American Suppressor Association will not stop fighting until suppressors are removed from the National Firearms Act and are legal to own in all 50 states. Help us protect your right to protect your hearing by making sure your membership in the American Suppressor Association is active. Visit us at asamember.com to join or renew today. That's asamember.com.